The 2012 Royal Rumble is now over, and I have to say that I was a little disappointed in this show. There was a few things I liked. There was a lot of stuff I didn't like. I just felt kind of disappointed at the end of the show. Um, I did get a lot of stuff I predicted on my prediction show right, but I think overall, like, I just got done watching it, and I don't know, it felt kind of anticlimactic for the Royal Rumble match itself, which was the main event. But I guess I'll just go ahead and go through the card here. The Royal Rumble started off, they were in St. Louis, Missouri. The first match was Daniel Bryan versus Mark Henry versus Big Show in the Triple Threat Steel Cage match. This was actually one of the better matches on the show, I thought. They did have a lot of Mark Henry, Big Show attacking each other, and then Daniel Bryan trying to be really sneaky and escape, but there were a few spots where he was beating up both guys. He was doing drop kicks on both of them and knocking them down, and it made him look pretty strong here. There was a funny part where he knocks them both down, and then while Daniel Bryan's trying to go to the door, Mark Henry gets up and grabs him, and he yells at the referee on the outside, "Close that door!" And that was pretty good. I think some of the people in the crowd were laughing. I think they were also chanting for Daniel Bryan in the crowd, which is weird since he's been such a heel on SmackDown recently. But he is awesome. Um, the finish is basically, it was actually pretty original because I haven't seen a finish like this. At least I can't remember it right now off the top of my head. But Big Show goes for a choke slam on Daniel Bryan. He turns it into a tornado DDT. Then he gets Big Show in the label lock. Before he can tap out, Mark Henry comes and breaks it up. Show hits Mark Henry with the WMD punch. He goes for the pin. Bryan breaks up the pin. He immediately runs up the top of the cage to try and escape. Show actually climbs to the top of the cage with Daniel Bryan, and they're kind of punching it out up there, hitting each other with some right hands. But eventually Daniel Bryan's on the other end of the cage where he's about to, all he has to do is jump down and he wins, and he's dangling there. Big Show grabs him by the hand. He's holding him. He's using all his strength to hold Daniel Bryan there. Daniel Bryan's actually just dangling in midair. Big Show's the only thing holding him up, and Big Show holds onto him as long as he can, and then he eventually lets him go. Daniel Bryan falls to the floor and wins the match. So he's running around, he's celebrating, he's so excited. He keeps saying yes, yes, over and over again. But that's what he does. He's a heel. He's kind of the conniving bad guy type, and he won, so he's still the champion. I'm fine with that. I like Daniel Bryan as the champion right now. I think he still has a lot he can do with this. They show a really big promo on John Cena. They show some of the people who boo him. They show some of his fans, and they're all kind of talking and giving interviews about John Cena. Shows his life. This promo was really long, this little video clip. At first I thought it was, maybe to kill some time while they take the cage down and set up the ring for the next match, but they do another one again in the show for The Rock to set up the WrestleMania match, and that one was really long too. But yeah, this is just a really long video promoting Cena, and he's talking about WrestleMania and how it means everything to him. Then the next match starts, and it's Beth Phoenix, Natalya, the Bellas versus Kelly Kelly, Tamina, Eve, and Alicia Fox. Typical Divas match. 8-woman Divas match, I guess. And Cole says, he says the Bella Twins remind me of Harlem Heat. And I thought that was pretty good. And Booker's like, what? But yeah, it it was a decent match, I guess. Like I said, it's typical. Not much to really go into. Um, Towards the end, one of the Bellas, they're wearing these weird things on their head, and I noticed that it's in her face. It like falls into one of the Bella's eyes, and actually, I thought it was just kind of a like a little botch thing, but Jerry Lawler actually mentions it, and then he starts laughing about it. He's like, "What is that on her face?" And I thought that was pretty funny. Beth Phoenix slaps the Bella like on the back really hard, tags herself in, and then she's like, "Get out of my ring." So I don't know if they're gonna build to something over this, but Beth Phoenix gets in, hits the glam slam on Kelly, and she gets the win. So Beth Phoenix, she has returned, I guess. I know she was out because Alicia Fox kind of fell on her face when she was trying to do a move and really bruised up Beth Phoenix's face, and it was swollen. I think she put the picture of it on Twitter. And so I'm glad she's back now. I mean, she is the champion for the Divas, and she's been gone for a while. Backstage, Zack Ryder is here, and he is in a wheelchair. Apparently, on WWE.com, Zack Ryder does not have a broken back anymore. He has a herniated disc. So I think that is the injury he has now. They probably thought about, what they said later, and they were like, "Oh my God, we told everyone he had a broken back. What were we thinking?" So they had to change it to a herniated disc, which is what Randy Orton had. But anyway, he's got this big brace on his stomach, and he's in a wheelchair, and he's being pushed around. John Laurinaitis comes up to him, and he says, "Zach, I got a special room for you. You can watch the show. We have food. If you need anything, just ask. Woo, woo, woo. You know it." This was hilarious. John Laurinaitis is so awesome as a heel. This was great. Eve comes up, and she's like, "You're to blame for all of this." And she gets up in John Laurinaitis' face, and she said, "You made him wrestle when he wasn't medically cleared, and all of this can be blamed on you." And Laurinaitis just looks at her and he says, "Well, that's gratitude for you." And then he walks off. And Eve's like, "Man, he's such an ass." And Zack Ryder says, "Woo, woo, woo, you know it." It was pretty cheesy, but the John Laurinaitis bit, that part was great. So the next match is the John Cena versus Kane match. And this was not all that great. It was a typical Cena match. He goes for a lot of his. He tries to go for the 5 moves, but Kane blocks him for a lot of the spots. He goes for the knuckle shuffle, and Kane kind of chokes him instead. He eventually does hit a 5 knuckle shuffle off the top rope. Eventually, they kind of just brawl to the outside. And this is where stuff gets really weird. Kane and Cena fight outside, and they start to brawl up to the, not the entrance ramp because it's the Royal Rumble, but towards the backstage area. So they're making their way to the back, and they eventually get both. They both get counted out of the match. So I guess it's a draw. So they're fighting in the back, throwing each other into trash cans and stuff. I don't know what Kane fell in, but his ass is like solid white. I think he fell in flour or something because he's got this huge white spot all over his ass. And he eventually gets a chair. And he just starts wailing on John Cena. He hits him in the back probably 3 times, I think. Then he looks up and he sees the special room Laurinaitis gave to Zack Ryder. And he goes up to the door and he tries to force his way in, but it's locked, so Kane just rips the door off the hinges and goes inside. Zack Ryder's in his wheelchair and he's freaking out, and Kane just puts the claw thing on his face and suffocates him. So Zack Ryder's acting like he's unconscious. Did not look good. Kane grabs his wheelchair and he starts wheeling him out to the ring. The entire time, Zack Ryder has to sit here and act like he is unconscious. And it just, yeah, it didn't really look all that great. But he gets him to the ring. He dumps him out of the wheelchair. He throws him into the ring. Eve comes down. She starts pleading with Kane, trying to beg him off. But Kane doesn't care. He just smiles, and then he hits Zack Ryder with a tombstone pile driver. So with his back problems, let's see, he was thrown off the dock through the wood. Then he was choke slammed through the stage, and now he's been tombstoned on his head while he's already injured. I don't know what they're going to do about this on Raw, but Zack Ryder is in a bad way right now if they keep piling up these, medical reasons for him not to wrestle. Because he would have already been out for a while just with the back injury alone, and now he's been tombstoned while he's injured. So I don't know what they're doing with this, but they just keep piling on reasons for this guy not to be on TV. Kane turns his attention to Eve. He's about to kill her too, and Cena makes the save. He runs in. He picks Kane up for the attitude adjustment, but his back gives out from all the chair shots. Kane hits a choke slam on him, and he just walks away. He leaves. All the referees and officials and the medical team come out. They load Zack Ryder into a stretcher. Cena's just sitting there. People are chanting Cena sucks. And that's it. The commentators are talking about Zack Ryder, and they do their, gimmick where they get really quiet to make sure everyone at home knows this is a serious angle and Zack Ryder may be dead. So then they show the big Rock promo where he's talking about the WrestleMania match and him filming that new movie, Journey to the Center of the Earth 2, or whatever it is, Journey to the Island. And they promote the movie. He talks about WrestleMania, how he's got this big match coming up. And it was just another really long promo to build WrestleMania. The next match is Drew McIntyre versus Brodus Clay. Yeah, I thought Brodus would be in the Rumble. I thought we might actually get a good pop from the crowd of him coming out. I thought we'd get to see him wrestle some real guys. Yeah, I don't think anybody thought Drew McIntyre stood a chance here. He mounts a little bit of offense in the beginning, but then Brodus hits him with the She-Plex. He splashes him in the corner, and he hits him with the crossbody, the finishing Funk It move, and he gets the pin. So, really quick match. I knew they would throw some extra matches on here. I said that in the prediction show. I think everybody knew that. They show a promo for Raw where Triple H will be reviewing John Laurinaitis. Then it's time for the championship match of CM Punk and Dolph Ziggler. So Laurinaitis comes out first, and he's the special guest referee, and he's wearing a referee shirt with the sleeves cut off. And he comes out and he says, "So that I can be a fair and impartial referee, I am only going to review the action from the outside of the ring, and I'm going to bring out another referee to call the action inside the ring." So the whole match, Laurinaitis kind of just stands outside the ring, and he's texting the whole time, really. But this match was awesome. I don't think anybody expected less out of it. Everybody knew this match would be great, and it was. There's not really much to say about it. Laurinaitis had Vicky removed from ringside. The big spot was basically one of the referees gets bumped outside. And while John Laurinaitis is tending to the referee on the outside, trying to make sure he's okay, CM Punk has Dolph Ziggler and an Anaconda Vice. And Ziggler is tapping out. So Punk gets up and he's like, "Laurinaitis, what are you doing? I got him beat in here." And he says, I'm checking on the referee. So Punk has him up. He's got Ziggler beat again. And Laurinaitis is still not watching the match. He's still messing around with this referee. So he kind of gets the ref in the ring, and Laurinaitis is in the ring with him. Punk gets Ziggler up for a GTS. He spins him around. It kicks Laurinaitis in the back of the head. He hits the GTS, and no one's there to make the count again. So Punk is getting really frustrated. Laurinaitis is just holding his head like he's been hurt badly. Punk goes for another GTS, but Ziggler reverses it. And he hits him with the Fameasser. Then eventually Punk hits him for another GTS. The referee is the official referee, and John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis is still on the outside, but he makes a 1 count. Laurinaitis slides into the ring, and then for the 2 and 3 count, he counts along with the referee. So basically what happens is Laurinaitis can say on Monday Night Raw with this footage that he was an impartial referee and he did not screw CM Punk over. He counted to 3 along with the other referee he brought, and it'll make it look like he was a real fair referee and everybody's happy. So they're going to tie this into something on Raw with him and Triple H and CM Punk. But yeah, CM Punk beat Dolph Ziggler. It made Dolph Ziggler look kind of bad, I guess, because Punk beat him 3 times, 4 times. But yeah, I mean, Punk's still the champion, and I don't know. I really like Dolph Ziggler. I was hoping this might be his time. I was hoping a lot of different things happened, but they kind of just finished it there, and it looks like it's just going to go right back to being more about Punk and Laurinaitis and Triple H again, unless they can somehow tie Jericho into all this. But the Royal Rumble starts. Miz is number 1 since he lost that match on Raw. He comes out and says, everybody thinks I should be scared, and I don't have what it takes to go all the way, and number 1's a tough spot to be in. And it was those same people who said I'd never be WWE champion. The same people who said I'd never headline WrestleMania, and I'm not afraid, and I will be the last man standing. The number 2 guy comes out, and it is Alex Riley. There was no Yoshitatsu on this Royal Rumble, which was surprising, but there was a lot of C-list guys. I can't say that they're all jobbers, but there was a lot of jobber-esque guys on here. Jinder Mahal, for example. But, yeah, basically Riley and Miz go at it. Miz eliminates Riley right off the bat. The third entrant is R-Truth. Him and Miz start fighting. In my prediction show, I think I said it in the prediction show, I actually thought R-Truth would be number 2, but he was number 3 here, so at least I was a little close. Number 4 is Cody Rhodes. Number 5 is Justin Gabriel. Number 6 is Primo. So, I mean, that's kind of how the Rumble was this year. It wasn't all that great. It also felt really short. I'm not sure exactly how long it was, but I don't even think it was an hour. Maybe like 40 minutes, somewhere around that. It was really short. It felt rushed. A lot of no-name guys. I guess you can't say they're no-name, but, Primo, Epico, one of the Usos. Well, anyways, Primo came out. He looked really good. He was laying guys out. He did a handstand spot on the turnbuckle into a head scissors. He looked great in the match, but then number 7 is Mick Foley. Mick Foley was dressed like Cactus Jack, and he got a good pop. Number 8 was actually Ricardo Rodriguez. So you see Del Rio's Titantron. You hear the music, and you're just thinking it's Del Rio. You hear the car pull up and start honking the horn. Well, this was pretty clever of them. I have to give them this. It's a busted old car that Ricardo is driving. He's wearing Del Rio's wrestling gear. He's got the scarf. He gets out. He's acting like he's Del Rio. This was great, great stuff. He's actually getting cheers. The fans are chanting Ricardo. I mean, it was kind of bizarre. He starts attacking Cody Rhodes like he's a babyface. Mick Foley doesn't attack him. He starts to work with him. Justin Gabriel actually tries to attack Ricardo, and Foley's like, you can hear this if you listen closely, but Justin Gabriel attacks Ricardo, and Foley's like, what are you doing? He's a civilian. And that was great stuff. But number 9 is Santino. So Ricardo and Santino do a lot of comedy spots. Eventually, Santino eliminates Ricardo, and then Santino and Foley stare at each other. And Foley goes for Sacco, Santino goes for the Cobra. They start to have kind of a standoff. Number 10 is Epico. He comes in and breaks up the Cobra Sacco thing before it can start. And he gets hit with the Cobra, then Foley gives him Sacco and eliminates him, and then they go right back to Sacco Cobra. And which consists of basically them holding hands with each other for a little bit up in the air like they're going to do the strength test. But Miz comes in, Cody Rhodes comes in, they start attacking Santino and Foley. Foley gets Miz in the Mr. Sacco, the mandible claw, and while he's tied up, Cody eliminates Foley. So there was Mick Foley. Number 11 is Kofi. Number 12 is the King. So his music hits, he takes his, commentary shirt off or whatever, and he gets in the ring, and Lawler actually cleans house. He's about to be double teamed by Cody and Miz, but he shakes him off, and he just beats up both guys until Cody eliminates him. Cody eliminated the most guys tonight, I think. Number 13 is Ezekiel Jackson. 14 is Jinder Mahal. 15 is the Great Khali. He returns tonight. This guy looks like he's in bad shape. He looked like he can barely walk. I know he's been that way for a while now, but it looks bad for the Great Khali. He really needs to just stop trying to wrestle because he looks like he's having problems walking. He goes immediately after Jinder Mahal, eliminates him. They were kind of feuding on SmackDown when Great Khali disappeared. So at least they remembered that and kept up with it. He gets rid of Jinder and Ezekiel, actually. Then number 16 is Hunico. 17 is Booker T. So Michael Cole is acting all surprised. When I was watching this, I couldn't believe it because Cole says, "What are you doing, Booker? Oh my God, you're in this? I can't believe you're in this." Meanwhile, Booker T is not wearing pants. He's wearing his wrestling tights. He basically just had on a jacket and a shirt, but the guy had no pants on. So Cole is acting all surprised, but I mean, it was obvious. During this, though, probably the coolest spot of the night and one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a Royal Rumble. And I think it's even better than John Morrison's little parkour thing he did last year. Miz has Cody on the ropes. And Kofi Kingston. And Kofi is trying to do this pull-up spot. Kind of like Shawn Michaels always did, where he flips himself back in. But the Miz flips him around, and Kofi lands on the outside on his hands. Meanwhile, his legs are still on the apron. Now, you can only lose the Royal Rumble if both feet touch the floor. So Kofi has got his hands on the mat with his legs on the apron. Miz picks up his legs and tosses them in the air, and Kofi does a handstand. He's walking on his hands on the outside to the stairs, flips his legs onto the stairs, and then pulls himself up and stands on top of the stairs and walks right back into the Rumble. You have got to see this. If you have not seen the Royal Rumble, you should definitely watch it just for this spot. It is amazing. Kofi Kingston came off great here. People were cheering and clapping for him. Man, he had to be nervous doing this. Oh my God, I can only imagine, but he pulled it off. It looked great. It was perfect. Number 18 is Dolph Ziggler. So I guess they didn't really use that whole anyone is eligible thing to its full potential. I mean, Dolph came out, didn't seem like anybody really cared. It was right after the Kofi handstand spot, so I think the crowd just was so excited about that they didn't care about anything else. 19 is Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He comes out. The crowd goes nuts. He is just destroying guys, but he eventually gets eliminated by Cody shortly after. He wasn't in there very long at all. Cody and Dolph Ziggler eliminate the Great Khali and Booker T. Booker T is talking to the King about it. Then all of a sudden, number 20 music hits, and it's Michael Cole. Yes, they used all 3 commentators for the Royal Rumble this year. Michael Cole is using the Monday Night Raw theme as his entrance music. He takes his shirt off. He's got on his WrestleMania outfit. He puts the headgear on. He goes in the ring. The wrestlers are distracted, so Cole's kind of just dancing around and cheering. Then all of a sudden, number 21's music hits, and it's Karma. That's the big black lady wrestler who got pregnant, and then she had to be taken off TV for a while. But she is a monster. So Cole is watching her come to the ring, and he's all scared, and he's getting nervous. Karma gets into the ring, immediately clotheslines Cole. He's kind of trying to beg her off, and he eventually just jumps over the top rope. Well, he's still trying to beg her off, and while he's standing on the apron, Booker T and Jerry the King Lawler come and pull his legs down, so Cole gets eliminated. Just a useless spot taken from another guy, but I don't know. Once it was King, and then once it was Booker, I kind of thought they might do that, but then I was thinking, nah, they wouldn't do that. But yes, they used all 3 commentators. So Dolph is yelling at Karma. He says, "What are you doing in here? Get out of here." And she attacks Dolph Ziggler. She gives him an implant buster. And she eliminates Hunico. And while she's eliminating Hunico, Dolph Ziggler eliminates Karma. So now we have 3 women who have been in the Royal Rumble in history: Beth Phoenix, Chyna, and Karma. Number 22 is Sheamus. Number 23 is the Road Dogg. I know Road Dogg wrestled on the Independents for a while, and TNA recently, but he was a wrestler on the Independents with Billy Gunn for, very recently, just before he became an agent for WWE. So he wasn't in really bad shape here. He came out and did the shake, rattle, and roll punch gimmick. He hit a pump handle slam. He didn't have too many moves after that. He kind of just got beat up a lot. But he didn't look too bad. Number 24 is Jey Uso. 25 is Jack Swagger. 26 is Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett has a new theme song now, apparently. I like the old one, the End of Days song. This new one, not so much, but maybe it'll, grow on me over time. But it really sucked that he didn't have his old theme song. I like that one. 27 is David Otunga. He got the lucky number. 27, that has the most Royal Rumble wins in history, went to David Otunga. Number 28 is Randy Orton. They're in his hometown, St. Louis, Missouri. He gets a huge pop. He cleans house, destroys everyone. He eliminates Wade Barrett after giving him an RKO. He eliminates Jey Uso. He hits a double rope DDT drop on the Cody and Dolph, that move where their legs are hanging on the ropes, and then he hits a DDT. He hits a double one of those on Cody and Dolph. Number 29 comes out, and it's Chris Jericho. Jericho wrestles. He takes out David Otunga. Number 30 is The Big Show. People were thinking it was going to be Taker. People were thinking everything. I was so disappointed. I was like, who's it going to be? It's got to be someone awesome. And it's The Big Show. Nothing against The Big Show. I like The Big Show. But number 30, all this build, and it's like, seriously? I was just really disappointed with this. Like I said, nothing against The Big Show. He seems like one of the nicest guys in the world, but yeah, I wanted something more for the 30 spot. I didn't think it was going to be Undertaker. I don't know what I thought, but they could have done something here. Anyways, the final 4 comes down to Big Show, Sheamus, Randy Orton, and Chris Jericho. Big Show chokeslams Jericho, and then Big Show gets an RKO. Uh, Randy Orton eliminates the Big Show, but while he's tipping out the Big Show, Jericho comes and eliminates Randy Orton. So your final two are Jericho and Sheamus. I was a little disappointed by that fact, but I guess in thinking back on it now, it makes sense given what happened. Um, they both looked really good. They had a good match here. Jericho was very close to being eliminated. He held onto the ropes though and was able to keep himself in the match. He hit the walls of Jericho on Sheamus, which actually looked more like a Boston Crab. I know the walls of Jericho, he kind of holds them up at an angle with his knee into their back. This was more like a Boston Crab, but they were calling it the walls of Jericho, so I'm going to assume that's what he was going for. He hit a code breaker onto Sheamus's face. Jericho gets really mad and says, "Get out of my ring," and he slaps Sheamus like 3 times hard in the face. Sheamus gets mad and starts to kind of hulk up on him. He eventually tosses Jericho out again, but Jericho holds on for the second time, pulls himself up. Sheamus hits him with the brogue kick, and Sheamus wins the 2012 Royal Rumble. That was it. The show went off after that. My thoughts on that are pretty much Jericho isn't going to be here very long. I thought Jericho would win. I'm pretty sure everybody at this point thought Jericho would win. But Jericho isn't going to be there for a long time. I heard he just signed a new deal with Fozzy, and they're probably going to make a new album. So if they decide to tour, who knows how long he's going to be in WWE this time. It could be for just a really short span. But Sheamus is going to be there for years. And they really built Sheamus up good here. Having him win the Royal Rumble was awesome. I mean, it works. He's the new up-and-coming star guy here. They're trying to push him as a good babyface right now. And, I mean, I guess I can't really see anything wrong with that. I wasn't really as excited for Sheamus to win as I would have been if it was someone else, but logically it makes sense. So, overall, you read the entrance. It was lackluster. It felt rushed. It was short. I think the show was over at 10:45. I know that's when most pay-per-views end, but I really thought for the Rumble they'd go right up until the clock, but they didn't. So, I guess we'll have to see who Sheamus challenges for which title he goes after for WrestleMania. So, next pay-per-view is going to be Elimination Chamber, and I hope you guys like this Royal Rumble recap video. Like my videos, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And I appreciate everyone who's listened to this, and I will be back tomorrow night with a recap of Monday Night Raw. So, until then, thank you for listening. Bye.